So yeah, week off, how you feeling?
Better than before I left.
Yeah, good. So got two things to talk about today. We're going to go over the door. Oh, there. Start again.
Go over the door.
We're going to go over the door, and I want to talk about a rounder. Yeah, I'm getting lots of questions on social media about a rounder, so I'm going to put the questions to you, so you can answer the questions. You've used a rounder for 2 years.
Yeah.
First things first, though, we'll talk about the door over the last week. I think I covered everything in a text to you, but I went through the motions of, you know, if anyone who's watched us is going to know that we did that loop of yeast.
All right.
So we kind of went high, then went low, and then we kind of looped it back high, and then we going back down again. I did it all in 1 week last week. I went really high and really low and tried to get the same product every time. So some days I split my batches. So I did a couple of days where I had, instead of having a 25k Bega, I had a 15 and a 10, and I did two mixes instead of one.
Right, okay.
One of them had like 1% yeast in, one of them had 0.1% yeast in, and tried to get the end product to be the same.
Yeah.
Easy enough to get the end product to be the same. I got it pretty much consistently the same, but the difference was the time at room temp after it was boiled.
Yeah.
Final yeast, I tried to keep relatively similar. I didn't just want to start packing in yeast into a low yeasted Bega to counteract that. So I kept it all between 1 and 3 grams per kilo of flour.
Right. Okay.
So even at like my lowest Bega at 0.1% yeast, that had 3 grams of yeast per kilo in the refresh. It's just not like I went 6 or 7. It's not like I'm trying to balance out on 1%. I tried to keep that refresh the same. I was amending closing temperatures. Higher yeast, I was closing at 16. Lower yeast, one batch went up to 23 degrees.
Right. Okay.
Because obviously I'm trying to figure out how I get different yeast levels to give me the same end product. And how much time they need at room temperature to get the yeast going, start breaking everything down. And a high room temperature meant I could leave it out a little bit less at room temp before going in the fridge. I didn't need to change the whole dough-wide process by leaving dough out for 4 or 5 hours and then into the fridge for 20 hours. I didn't need to do that.
It's not feasible for our setup.
No, so we have quite a lot to talk about on that, which we'll cover in a later conversation because we don't have enough time this morning. It's at least a 40-minute conversation there. So what we'll talk about is where we are right now, which is at 4 grams yeast per kilo of flour in the Bega. Before you went on holiday, we were at 5.
In the Bega, you say? Yeah. 5 before I left and 2 in the refresh. Okay. So I went down to 1.5, so it got to fucking 38 degrees. But
So now we're at 4 and 2.5.
Right.
2.5 in the refresh per kilo of flour. So in total we have 6.5 grams of yeast per kilo of flour in our mixes. Well, kind of depends if we refresh or not, but let's just say it was 100% Bega. That's where we're at. And that worked really well for me at a minimum of 30-minute room temp, closing at 17 degrees. I tried it at 16. It was a little bit too cold. Tried at 18. It was a little bit too warm, and it was a little bit too tacky to go for the rounder. 17 was perfect.
Averaged out. Okay.
And 30 minutes, and it was a 30-minute full rest for everything. So once I finished boiling, I'd then set the time of 30 minutes. So everything just had that 1 30 minutes. I didn't stage it. I didn't have stack 1, timer going, stack 2, timer going. I just, once I finished boiling, 30 minutes.
For everything?
Yeah, for everything.
Aha!
And the reason why, so I didn't say in a text, and it doesn't matter that you've left some longer because I did leave some out for an hour and it handled it great. The next day it was a little bit more gassed, but it was still a great pizza. So we can push that time if we wanted to, but 30 minutes is enough. The latter 2 sections of our dough, so to kind of explain that to anyone listening, when we boil we have a stack of 5, a stack of 5, and then we might have another stack of 5 or a stack of 3, a stack of 2, depending on what size batch we're doing. The latter 2 stacks we're using later. We're using probably potentially even the next day because we might already have.
Yeah, definitely the next day.
Yeah, we might have 100, 150 dough balls already in the fridge from the previous day. So they're for the next day. So they benefit from not being out as long as that first stack. That first stack we're going to get at that. We're going to start making pizza with that, 10 hours later. So that kind of works out that it gets a bit more time than the others. That little bit does make a difference. So I just want to get it all in the fridge at that time. It works really well. And plus something to keep in mind as well is this fridge, our backup fridge down here, it just runs colder. So I haven't found much of a difference with leaving that dough any longer or any less because it runs colder anyway, everything just slows right down.
Massively.
And if anything, you know, we've often found that it can sometimes be a little bit under.
Yeah, generally it is, yeah. Because it's not been out as long while it's been boiled, so it goes downstairs in the stalls in that fridge that never gets open, well, rarely gets opened, and it's a lower temperature as well.
Yeah. And what I found is, as long as we know we're not going to use that until the next day, it's good.
Yeah.
If you're using it that night, it's a problem. It's stalled it too much and it slowed it down too much. That's why I made those changes, and that was my best results. Out of 4 grams yeast in the Bega, 2.5 in the refresh. Everything was smooth, the dough was strong, and with that mixing process, it was good. So I was like, right, okay, we tried low, tried high, just come to town on it all week. We're just going to leave it there. And then that's where we are right now.
Yeah.
Like we said in last week's episode, we are moving over to Petra flour.
Right.
And what I wanted to do before we did that was just kind of get the yeast levels amended a little bit as we're coming out of the heat wave as well. Just kind of wanted to amend that a little bit, and then when we move to Petra flour, we know where we want to be at the moment, and that's what I did last week. So a little bit of fun with that. We will talk more about the highs and lows of yeast next time. But any questions?
Yeah, I have one question. Which we said we discussed today was the flour. Because when I left, we were still testing how, if we were going to keep it around, how we would incorporate Cassillo Zero XL in particular. And while I was away, you've stopped using it, and I was kind of happy a little bit, if I'm going to be honest. But I want to know what your thoughts are.
It's just too high a W. It's too strong.
Too strong.
It doesn't work for our timings. It works if we were relying on dough to be used the next day. Fine.
It's. I was thinking if we were able to store dough space-wise, if we were able to store dough for 72 hours, it'd be great. It's actually super strong, that flour.
It needs that time. So 4 grams yeast per kilo flour in a Bega for that, and it does a lot less. Don't know, you know, it's a high W, so I don't really know how much of the enzyme impact we're going to have with that and the damage starch impact of that, but it is just generally too strong. It needs a lot more time. So it's going to have less damage starch in it.
A lot less.
And its falling number is going to be higher as well. So it just needs more time than what Vesuvio needs. And even if kind of the difference there is 340 to 360, right?
The W for Zero XL?
For Zero XL it's 360, 380. No, it's 380.
And
that's
it's a strong 380,
And that's plus 20 as well, so it could be up to 400, right?
Yeah, it could be.
I couldn't remember if it was 360 to 380 or 380
to 400. No, it's 380 minimum, like it's a strong flour. That's why I really wanted to test it out in the Bega as the primary flour rather than Vesuvio. But I think the other thing as well is we're mixing our flour. I've realised this over time, especially from using the same flour at home. And I tested a couple of different batches with that flour varied in quantities. I think especially with ours, we're whipping it quite a bit, which is getting the best out of Vesuvio. We're really mixing the life out of it, and then maybe for the time period we're resting our dough in the fridge and how long we're resting the Bega, I don't think it needs mixed that much because it's so strong already. We're just fucking that's why it would need an extra 2 days, because it needs that proteolysis to start breaking down the gluten.
Exactly.
Because we've built too much up. So I'm glad we kind of switched it out for the process.
100%. But the simple answer there is too strong.
Too much. Fair enough. I thought you might say that, to be honest. From what the dough was like before I left.
It's just too dense. You know, you get the crust on the pizza's too hard if you don't give it the time it needs. So Vesuvio much better, and with the way we mix, it's super strong anyway. If anything, I'll talk to you about this after, but I've done a few mixes where I haven't been able to use the rounder because I've kind of mixed it and it is incredibly strong. And this is using Vesuvio that I've kind of had to handball and not put it through the rounder because the rounder was just, when it goes through, it's just struggling to actually bind it together. It's like, oh fuck. Obviously I want to use the rounder, but yeah, we'll get at that when we get back in the kitchen.
I honestly, to be honest, it was when I didn't figure it out, you figured it out, that when you got new probes in, the new probes are actually right. Or closer to it at least. And the old probe was like 2 degrees above where it should be, I think it was. So that's when we were sort of thinking Vesuvio's fucking us a bit here. Turns out, especially in my case, I was really under mixing it. So once we actually worked that out, or you worked that out, and we got the mix where it was, Vesuvio's just performing. Unbelievable.
It's great. It is a great flour. I am. It's just as we figured that flour out perfectly, and we're thinking about changing. But it is something I wanted to do. I wanted to properly run at Petra for a long time. Years now, I wanted to run it, but you know, like we said last week, the price of it is a question mark, and I've had to kind of get to the point where I realised that, you know, it's worth it, depending on obviously what you're selling, but it is worth spending a little bit more on something. Mm-hmm. So I want to test it, I want to run with it, and it might be that we do it for 2 weeks and go, okay, we prefer Vesuvio, but I want to run it. So next week, that's what we're doing.
I am curious, because it was, you told me, I've never really, I thought about Petra to buy it at home, but I seen how expensive it was, so I didn't buy it. And then it was you that told me how good Petra was. You said it's a fucking incredible flour. So I went, okay, I'll buy it for home. It's not that expensive for a 6 kilo bag, and you know, it lasts me a while. And I think I made 3 batches out of it before I realised that it needs a lot more strengthening.
Yeah.
Because I obviously mix everything by hand at home, and you can perform stretch and folds, but this needed a lot more than I realised. No matter what I did, it just wasn't strong enough.
Yeah.
And at first I thought it's the flour shit, and then it dawned on me, and then I asked you, does it just need a lot more mixing?
Yeah, it's got to get out.
It needs whipped to fuck, basically is what you were saying.
It does. So I've made it by hand once, and then in the mixer as well, and it is much better, much better when you can give it a bit of time. You can give it a good mix. Yeah, it's a great flour. But the reaction I kind of felt with Petra was, you know how when we had Casilla, and the aroma, the smell, I get the same with Petra. You smell the flour and it just smells better. It smells great. You can't just judge what we're doing off the smell of a flour, but
it's tempting, though, isn't it?
But yeah, I think that's about it anyway to chat about from last week, and obviously we'll run at things this week now, and we're making some changes anyway. So, but any more questions on the dough from last week?
No, it's feeling how it did before I left. Feels great to work with. Like fucking lovely, balls up really quickly, fucking handles really great in service, reacts great in the oven, great texture, great, everything great.
Nice.
Yeah,
good.
It's all good.
Everything great. We like everything
glad
great.
To be back making pizza.
Good. We're glad to have you back, mate. I'm glad to have you back. Anyway, right, let's move on to the rounder.
Yeah.
So I posted a couple of videos over the last week with a rounder, and every time I post videos with a rounder, I just get spammed with messages about it, and I get it. It's like this fancy machine that people see, and you're throwing a dough ball in, and a dough ball comes out. So I just wanted to run at that, talk about it. So instead of me replying to stupid amounts of DMs, I can just put a video up.
Yeah.
You've been working there a few years, and you've only used the rounder. You know how to handball. You were self-taught prior to coming here on how to handball, so you know how to do that, and you can do that very well. But here professionally, we've used the rounder, and there's only been on occasion where you've had to handball. You know, if we messed up a dough batch and we've had to handball it because the rounder didn't like it.
Yeah.
But I'd say 98, 99% of the time you've used the rounder. I've used the rounder now for becoming up to 3 years. Before Doughhide, I didn't use a rounder. I did everything by hand for many years. I was reluctant to use a rounder. I didn't really want to. I loved doing it by hand. And it was only when I started doing it, and also when I started training chefs, I realised, okay, it's much easier to train a chef on a rounder than it is to handball, and the consistency and the pace is better as well. So the first question on the rounder is, coming from somebody who enjoyed handballing, self-taught, what did you think when you started using a rounder here?
So it's a tricky one. It's easy to use, like very easy to use, and it's very quick to use. So it cuts down time from an efficiency point. I get it. Especially from like a business in hospitality, especially, I completely get it. It speeds everything up. The consistency, if the dough's right and you know how to work with it, the consistency's there. From a passion point of view, I do love handballing. I just love the motion of it. I love feeling it, putting it down, seeing it when you get out. You know you put it in by hand, but the rounder is it's a useful tool. Yeah.
So if I said to you, the rounder broke, your first day back after a week off, the rounder's broke, you're gonna have to handball, and it's been busy, so you need to do me 200 pizzas, 200 dough balls. How would you feel?
Well, you're asking the wrong person. I would actually be happy about it. The one day that I balled all 15 trays by hand, it was great. I mean, I was behind on prep, I was just there. I had my tunes on. There was no one else in the restaurant. It was just me handballing all of this dough. So I actually loved it.
All right, so let's say you have to do it for a month, and I'm saying
you're asking the wrong person.
I'm saying we're not increasing our prep time.
Oh well, then yes, that's the other chef's problem then, because they're going to be prepping more.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So the difference is there. I would have to come in probably 2 hours early.
Yeah.
Earlier than I do, which for me isn't an issue because I love what I do. I chose to do this, but I can understand for a lot of people where that's 2 hours saved. That's a lot of time.
Yeah.
You can do a lot more prep, as in you can expand your menu and not spend more money on it. So you can also then hire someone else to do that, because that's 2 hours saved. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of time that you can then spend on other parts of the business, perhaps.
Yeah. 100%. So that's why. And again, if anyone listening to this, like, none of that was pre-planned. I ain't seen you in just over a week, and you didn't know I was going to ask you about the rounder today. But your response is pretty much the response I would have given if I'd have been asked about the rounder before, buying the rounder 3 years ago. I love handballing, I still do. The only problem with handballing is, this lump on my wrist that I've got from years of doing it beforehand, which still hurts me right now, which you're not going to get out of a rounder. And that passion side of it is, I miss it when I'm making dough at home and I'm doing like 6 dough balls or whatever. It's great, like just handballing a few, but when you're just trying to fly out prep, like exactly what you said, it speeds everything up and it means you can focus on other areas. If you're a business that can just afford, to spend more on labour, cool, like go for handballing. If your chefs enjoy it. If I could just afford to every day run handballing, then I would. But we've kind of tailored. Now with our menus, we can put time into other things. So exactly what you said. If we decided to handball, that'd probably come at the cost of our creativity on food. Yeah. Unless we, like you said, came in an hour and a half earlier than we already do. That's the beauty of a rounder, is the time. As an owner, it's good for time. As a chef, I miss handballing a little. But you can always bring it back in.
There's the other thing associated for anyone that is considering it, and again, this isn't a reason to get one, but I know myself from working with it, a high hydration dough is more difficult to handball. I've seen people do it, there's technique to it, and it just I would imagine from watching those people ball that way, that would take a long time to perfect or to get it right and get used to it. So there is that added benefit. If you did want to play with high hydration, not everybody wants to, but if you did want to, it offers you that opportunity to just ball just as quickly.
For sure.
And not have to spend that extra bit of time figuring out, because it's easy to ball a 60 to 65% hydration dough by hand. It's not tacky, it's not sticking to you. You don't need oil, you don't need water. Just boom, boom, boom into the thing. The higher hydration you get, you do start needing little things, little tools, if you can call oil a tool, oil and water, just to help that little bit. And there is a technique, the speed of your hands and everything. So there's just there's various other things. There's time, obviously there's the efficiency side of things, but there's also, it gives you that extra room to experiment with your dough.
For sure.
So
I think the rounders say that they do up to 75. That's like their like official statement is 75.
Oh right, I didn't know that.
But I pushed a lot higher. You've gone higher. We get 75 through easier, and it's easier to get it through the round than it is by hand. Everything you just said there, exactly right. It's easier to do it because you're faster. You just cut in and then dropping it through the rounder, and it's easier than then handballing it and putting it through. I'll be 5 minutes, Vince. I'll be with you. And then you're just putting it through, and it works. I've put 80% through easily. 85% was quite hard. I did get 90% through once. I've done it once, so I just want to kind of clarify. I've done 90% once. I haven't done it loads of times, but I got it through, and it all went through. I think I did. I can't remember, 10 trays of 90%, and they went through. So 10 trays of 15. And I had to get them all through from start to end. It was harder than it was at 75, but 75 is so easy to get through the rounder. Temperature is the part that you've got to balance. They don't like bulk fermenting. And it's probably something that you haven't experienced, but they do not like bulk fermenting at all. No,
well, I've kind of experienced a minor bulk ferment using them. Because the more you bulk ferment, the stickier, the tackier it is inside. That gluten web's forming inside that bulk mass. So then when you cut into that, it's like when we used to stretch and fold when it came out the mixer. So you're creating a big mass, which is what will happen if you bulk ferment it. And when you cut into that bulk mass, the center of it is expanded. that web is created, there's not a solid surface for the rounder to sort of cling to.
Yeah.
So it just comes out an absolute mess at the top.
It does, yeah.
It's essentially what bulk ferment does.
Yeah,
so now, ever since we just take that straight up from the mixer onto the counter and ball it from there.
Yeah. It's even the air, the development inside the door, the gases are getting created. It doesn't like that either. So there's a lot of things. And temperature. I got asked what's the ideal temperature for a rounder. For me, low is better.
Yeah.
I found anything over 20, it gets harder. 22, 23, it's pretty hard to get it through, but it still does it.
Yeah.
So just change your, just tweak your recipe slightly and just pull it down a little bit. Everyone kind of asks that question, but my dough needs to go to 22, 23. It doesn't need to go to 22 or 23. Just adapt things slightly. Focus on the time it's in the mixer and the gluten development. Don't necessarily worry about the temperature always. I know it's kind of contradicting a lot of things that we do. We aim more for temperature than time. But if you want to go a little bit lower, you can alter your processes to still get the same product.
How strong the rounder likes a stronger dough. I spoke about us having an issue with the infrared point and shoot, and so I was under mixing it basically by 2 degrees worth of time. So that was struggling to get through the rounder because there was nothing for it to cling to. It was too weak, so it was coming out the top just fucking flat, all striated and fucked up. And then the stronger it is, it just means it can wrap around as it's going all the way. It can cling to the side. It's more extensible, but it's elastic. It likes that basically.
100%. Just I was only joking. Then completely, you were completely right. It likes strong dough.
Yeah, it's not too strong.
It's not super strong. But yeah, if it's under, it don't like it. And if it's over, which if you've over developed, if it's too strong, it also doesn't really like it. You just got to learn.
You got to learn.
And figure it out. So cleaning, I put a video on our YouTube yesterday about cleaning it. For me, it's 5 minutes.
Same for me.
Yeah,
actually
brilliant.
Less for me now. I think I've got it put back together in 4 minutes now.
Nice. Okay.
It's a fucking piece of piss.
Yeah, easy. And the time it saves us every day.
Yeah.
There's not even a conversation there behind the cleaning. That's one of the most popular questions.
The cleaning part.
Yeah, people have a serious problem with saying, why would you want to clean this machine down? Doesn't that cost you more time? Like cleaning it every day? Well, no, it's 5 minutes.
We're not putting it through the dishwasher every day. Like we'll give it a proper clean after a certain amount of time.
You can't go through a dishwasher anyway.
No, I did.
They're not recommended to go for it.
It's you just need to figure out how to clean it. After we were going a long way and eventually figured out, didn't we, just to get the scraper in there and rotate it. Done. You get a piece of blue rolls straight down and get all the dough off the sparties.
Blast it with a bit of sanitizer, wipe it over.
Easy peasy.
Done. Every now and again, I just blast a lot of hot water down the centre of the spiral. Just to clean out any oil that may be stuck in there, or oil residue. That's it. Easy, 5 minutes. Done. And the time it saves you is,
it's a lot,
massive.
So in a nutshell, my advice from having used them for a couple of years is if you're passionate like me and you, then you probably don't think don't get one just to save money and time. But if you're not like if you love making, there's so many areas to making pizza. And I'm passionate about balling in the dough, and so are you. Some people are more passionate about the service and just want to get prep out of the way so they can get onto that part. So you just need to figure out what your priority is really.
100%.
Because ultimately it saves you a lot of time. We're balling up probably 13 trays a day on average in 30 minutes max, which would take a lot longer.
For sure.
Whereas I would love to handball, but ultimately the climate is not allowing that time-wise, money-wise. So think about why you want it, basically.
For sure. Last week we did 1,200 pizzas, which I think warrants a rounder. I think if you're doing 40, 50 pizzas a day, just handball them. That's it. Just handball. Don't get around it. It's not worth getting around
exactly,
it. But if you're doing any more than 50, 60 a day, if you're in the 100 plus a day, 100% the rounder is worth it.
Yeah, because everywhere I've seen and watched balling up as much as we do, will generally have at least 2, maybe 3 people balling. So if you can afford to do that, I would say do it, because there's the love for it is there, and you get to do it, because the rounder does take that away from me. But for most people nowadays, 3 chefs to do that one task, as well as everything else that's getting done in the background, isn't that feasible. So like you were saying, figure out whether it's worthwhile for you or not, because you could do 50 balls by hand in no time.
Yeah, that's no problem. But yeah, if you're doing a good volume, get around there. And if your chefs love handballing, they can still handball if they want. If the time allows it, if they were a quiet night the night before and prep's easy, handball. You know, feel the enjoyment again. But if you're busy and you want to be ahead, put your rounder out for the rounder. Anyway, I've got some more meetings to do today, so let's wrap it up there.
Got some more prep to do as well.
Got some more prep to do. Any questions on last week before we?
No, mate. It's all pretty self-explanatory. Like when at this point, I can look at the numbers, look at the messages, and see how it's gone. So
we'll try and get another episode in before next week. This week, I think, if we can.
Sound
sweet.